So we're gonna have a look at a match at ADCC Trials against Gavin Corbray versus Gianni Grippo. So just some context of the match. Both of these athletes have had several matches before. I think they faced the IBJJF Worlds most recently, and Gianni ended up winning that, and that was for the finals. So they're both very good, but this is the ADCC rule set. And I think Gavin has the advantage just because he can wrestle, and Gianni's not really known for his wrestling. So let's see how that plays out. They shake hands here, and they immediately start going into hand fighting battles. So he starts tying up with him and hand fighting. Beautiful. He looks to pull guard, and he doesn't pull guard with any connection. He kind of just falls to his butt. It's the beginning of the match, it doesn't really matter too much, but ideally I think Gianni should have pulled with like some sort of connection with the leg and then went immediately into attacking. But he solves this just by scooting forward and pulling into reverse De La Riva. And Gianni's so good at switching sides with his guard play. You can see how he effortlessly switches between reverse De La Riva and De La Riva. And when he does this with a grip on the ankle, and he can start off balancing. So he kind of off balances him like this, and he starts going towards here. And from here, he's immediately going into elevations where he's elevating the leg and looking to pummel towards inside position. So if we watch, he elevates. Something to realize and something to take note of, what he does very well is when his partner kills one hook, so in this case, Gavin is focused on killing the De La Riva hook. Gianni does a very good job using his secondary foot to off balance and hook in. So Gavin's really focused on pushing that De La Riva hook down, but as a result, he can use that secondary foot to pull and off balance him like so. So really take note how he's using that secondary foot, and how he's kind of using like a cross frame to guide his head away, which is also making the leg light. So now you can see his leg is weightless, allows him to easily pummel and steal inside position here. But from here, Gavin looks to go double seated and look to attack. Like under IBJJF rule sets, that would be like probably the decisive moment in the match. Like once you're up, it's very hard to come back from. But because ADC is no points, it's a lot harder to score. Like that sequence pretty much meant nothing, and now they're just battling from double seated. Good. Gavin looks to stand up again, but Gianni does a good job elevating that leg, and they continue to go. You can see they're just battling here. Gavin's focused staying on top. He's trying to kill the hook by keeping his elbow inside of the knee and pushing the hook down, making it very weak. But you can see how, in that case, I think Gianni even reached up across his head, grabbed his shoulder, and moved his head across, which is quite interesting. You can see how he used his frame just to physically like pull his head out of position and make it easy to off balance. And that kind of allowed him to switch onto the hip and elevate the leg very easily. Now, this is a cool sequence. So let's see. So he steals inside position. So let's watch that back and analyze it. So from here, Gavin's controlling the ankle on his opponent. And what Gianni does very well, he makes a knee pummel. He switches towards the scoop and makes a knee pummel. He pummels a knee first. So anytime they grab the ankle from this waiter swoop position, trying to pummel can be very hard. So what he does instead, he switches towards a scoop grip, and this allows him to pummel his knee inside and then his ankle. It's very hard for him to stop with just a grip on the ankle. And now Gavin has, Gianni has both ankles controlled, or both legs controlled, and he can go into attacks. He tries hitting an ankle lock, but Gavin's notoriously hard to finish. Like if this was IBJJF as well, Gianni could now come on top and take points, but because it's ADCC, it doesn't really matter that much. Now they start going double seated and leg pummeling. Something Gianni does really well is taking two-on-one grips on the ankle and pulling his hips through. So you can see, like, instead of trying to work with immediately Achilles grips, where it can be hard, especially if your hips are disconnected, he uses a two-on-one grip on the ankle and tries to pull his hips in and then switch towards Achilles. This also makes it easier for him to like keep the leg elevated and kind of stop Gavin from standing up and running away. So you can see how he's using grips, and he's focused on getting his hips connected before he goes to the Achilles grip. You can see here his hips aren't connected with him, and he switches towards the Achilles grip. So Gavin's knee can rotate inside, and he can alleviate pressure on that ankle lock. And now he can pummel and reset. So something to take note of. So now they're battling here. They reset. One-on-one grips. Gianni immediately pulls in and looks to attack De La Riva. And he switches towards that scoop grip and then back towards a hook grip. And you can see how because Gianni is grabbing that hand, he can quickly whip his feet towards the inside and steal inside position. Is that going to work from there? Here we go. So in that sequence there, so he stole inside position from the hook, use that to elevate and off balance him overhead and then turn back towards him. Because Gavin wasn't really grabbing his ankle, this was like a slight mistake by Gavin. Well, not really a mistake, because he kind of needs that hand balance, but because he wasn't grabbing that ankle, Gianni can just pummel inside and go into Rumi Ashi and then start attacking from here. But then once again, because it's not points, Gavin just goes double seated and looks to invert out of this, and it's so hard for Gianni to like keep solid connection. Yeah, you can see how the rules will change how a match is completely played, and will change the reactions of their opponent. And now they're going to this double seated battle. You can see Gianni using that 2-on-1 grip, trying to pull himself in before switching towards that Achilles grip. Now he gets an Achilles grip, and he passes it towards cross Ashi, but Gavin just inverts that because his hips aren't really connected towards his legs. But keep on fast forwarding. You can see double seat, and something to note as well is that this actually favors Gavin, because if it goes to overtime, both athletes will be forced standing, and because Gavin... If you like what you see, the rest is on my school page for free. Make sure you follow that. And if you like my teaching style, I'm also available for online coaching.